16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic and video conference meetings in response to the coronavirus. For more information about the suspension, see TASB Legal Services article, Texas Governor Suspends Certain Provisions of Open Meetings Act Due to Coronavirus. In accordance with these suspended rules, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. Although members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference or telephone call. We are meeting by use of YouTube live stream software application, which allows two-way communication. As you would at any in-person meeting, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice to speak during the public comment portion will be 15 minutes prior to the meeting start, and your comment will be read at the meeting. If the speaker submitted written comments in advance, the board will read the comments into record before or during the board's consideration of that item. If you would like to provide comment at a future meeting conducted by video conference or telephone call, please follow instructions on the meeting notice. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board-adopted procedures to the extent practicable. An audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. This software application allows for unlimited number of people to view and interact at a time. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask you for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. At this time, we would like to take roll call, and board members, would you please state your first and last names and indicate that you are present. We'll begin on my left with, we'll start with the video conferencing. We'll start with Jenny Rodriguez.
Jennifer Rodriguez, present.
Rafa Diaz.
Rafa Diaz, present.
Lynette Perez.
Lynette Perez, present.
Deborah Eaton.
Deborah Eaton, present.
Suzanne Canoyer.
Suzanne Canoyer, present.
Shatanya King.
Shatanya King, present.
And I am Renee Pichelle, present. To my left is Dr. Ball.
Welcome.
At this time, would you please stand for the invocation and the pledges of allegiance? Pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. My apologies. We will now have the invocation. Dr. Ball.
Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening asking that you would be with us as we do our due diligence for the district, for our employees, our students. Father, we just ask that you would be with us during this troubling time, that we might be led and guided to do what's best for everyone concerned, for the safety, health of all of our students, our staff, and our staff, teachers and staff members, Father. These things and all others we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. We will now have acknowledgement of visitors. Do we have any public comments?
I have none.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4, consideration of consent items. I'll read each item, and if anyone has any that they would like to pull, please let me know. I'm sorry. I didn't know we had any. Let's back up to item number 2, recognitions. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. We would like to recognize the valedictorian and the salutatorian from our high schools. We have put together a video to show tribute to our students because we are so very proud of our seniors this year. So we would like to recognize the Val and the Sal from each one of our high schools.
This evening's board recognition comes from our 3 comprehensive high schools and our early college academy. There are a number of very bright students who are dedicated to their academics because they know that holds an important key to their future and the direction they want to go. These individuals are those who have shown exceptional perseverance and dedication to their studies during their time in Judson ISD. These individuals are the valedictorians and salutatorians of these schools. They are leaders in their own right and have shown themselves as examples of what can be accomplished during this season of their education. Now, while some have reached this pinnacle and have determined their next steps, some are still considering their options, and we certainly understand that, and we wish them the best in their decision. To begin, from Judson High School, the valedictorian is Cameron Eric White. With a GPA of 109.4, Cameron has decided to attend Massachusetts Institute of Technology, otherwise known as MIT. The salutatorian for Judson High School is Sarah Michelle Eckenroth Rubio. She is graduating with a GPA of 108.8 and plans on attending the University of Texas at Austin in the fall. From Wagner High School, the valedictorian is Alonso Montoya Acosta. He will be graduating with a GPA of 107.3, and he plans on attending the University of Texas at San Antonio, participating in the honors program. The salutatorian from Wagner High School is Mario Trevino Jr. He will be finishing up high school with a GPA of 106.7. The college he will attend is yet to be determined. Now, from Veterans Memorial High School, the valedictorian is Anthony Milian Centron. He will be wrapping up his high school career with a GPA of 109.9. This evening's board recognition comes from our 3 comprehensive high schools and our early college academy. There are a number of very bright students who are dedicated to their academics because they know that holds an important key to their future and the direction they want to go. These individuals are those who have shown exceptional perseverance and dedication to their studies during their time in Judson ISD. These individuals are the valedictorians and salutatorians of these schools. They are leaders in their own right and have shown themselves as examples of what can be accomplished during this season of their education. Now, while some have reached this pinnacle and have determined their next steps, some are still considering their options, and we certainly understand that, and we wish them the best in their decision. To begin, from Judson High School, the valedictorian is Cameron Eric White. With a GPA of 109.4, Cameron has decided to attend Massachusetts Institute of Technology, otherwise known as MIT. The salutatorian for Judson High School is Sarah Michelle Eckenroth Rubio. She is graduating with a GPA of 108.8 and plans on attending the University of Texas at Austin in the fall. From Wagner High School, the valedictorian is Alonso Montoya Acosta. He will be graduating with a GPA of 107.3, and he plans on attending the University of Texas at San Antonio, participating in the honors program. The salutatorian from Wagner High School is Mario Trevino Jr. He will be finishing up high school with a GPA of 106.7. The college he will attend is yet to be determined. Now, from Veterans Memorial High School, the valedictorian is Anthony Milian Centron. He will be wrapping up his high school career with a GPA of 109.9. The college he will be attending is yet to be determined. The salutatorian for Veterans Memorial High School is Ashley Langston. She will be graduating from Veterans with a 107.6 GPA. Her college choice is also yet to be determined. Now, at Judson Early College Academy, the valedictorian is Dewey Ha. He is finishing his time at JECA with a 104.9 GPA. He is planning on attending Rice University in the fall. The salutatorian at Judson Early College Academy is Cambrin Bowling. She will be graduating from JECA with a GPA of 104.2. She plans on attending Texas State University in the fall. These are our valedictorians and salutatorians for the class of 2020. We salute them and congratulate them and their families for their work and support. Those are our recognitions for the evening.
Those are all the recognitions, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing that to my attention, because we certainly would not have wanted to miss that. All right, so we are now at item 4, consideration of consent items. And again, as I said, if there are any items that anyone would like to have pulled, please let me know. Item 4A, consider and take action regarding approving board minutes from the regular meeting held on March the 20th, 2020. B, consider and take action regarding approving monthly financial information as of February 29th, 2020 and March 31st, 2020. C, consider and take action regarding approving cash investment report for all funds as of March the 31st, 2020. D, consider and take action regarding approving summer work hours for 2020.
Pull.
E, consider and take action regarding approving service delivery agreement, SDA, between communities and schools in Judson ISD.
Pull.
F, consider and take action regarding approving a proclamation to declare May 1st, 2020 as School Lunch Hero Day. G,
Pull.
G, consider and take action regarding approving an interlocal agreement between the City of San Antonio and 12 public education districts within its boundaries. H, consider and take action regarding approving the ranking of the submittals for request for competitive sealed proposal 2019 Eloff Elementary School modernizations and improvements. I, consider and take action regarding approving the ranking of the engineering firms for services related to the material testing phase of the construction at Eloff Elementary School. J, consider and take action regarding approving the new staffing request for the Director of Instructional Technology. K, consider and take action regarding approving a resolution regarding district operations during the COVID-19 event. L, consider and take action regarding approving update to FMH Local Student Activities Commencement. M, consider and take action regarding approving the transfer of certain bond proceeds from Proposition 2 to Proposition 1 of the district's 2016 bond election in order to complete various items with the Olympia Elementary upgrade and Eloff Elementary upgrade.
Pull.
N, consider and take action regarding approving the resolution, approving the real estate sales contract, and the purchase of a 6-acre tract of real property, more or less, out of that 32.599-acre tract described in deed to Pamela Sue Swain Webb, recorded on volume 12685, page 430 of the official public records of Bexar County, Texas, and situated in the Vicente Miculi Survey number 114, abstract 462, County Block 5019, Bexar County, Texas, and authorizing a signatory for the transaction. O, consider and take possible action regarding approving a resolution approving the sale of the real property described as a 0.402 of 1 acre parcel of land out of the Antonio Amador Survey, abstract number 1177, Bexar County, Texas, and being a portion of Lot 1, Block 1, Judson Independent School District, New Converse Elementary School, a subdivision of record in volume 9577, page 98, plat records of Bexar County, Texas, to the state of Texas, acting by and through the Texas Transportation Commission for $49,306.80 plus costs of the conveyance, delegating authority to the superintendent to execute the necessary contract, and granting signatory authority for closing documents to the board president. P, consider and take action regarding approving a resolution for African American Studies in the JISD.
Pull.
We will be voting, And it will be a roll call vote, please, on items A, B, C, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O, N, and O. Is there a motion?
I move for approval, Madam President.
Thank you. The motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, when I call your name, say aye or nay. Ms. King,
Aye.
and state your name, please.
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer,
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Eaton,
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Perez,
Lynette Perez, aye.
Mr. Diaz,
Rafael Diaz, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And we will now go back to item D, consider and take action regarding approving the summer work hours for 2020. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Eaton,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Diaz. And I'm not quite sure who pulled that item.
You did.
Lynette Perez. pulled the
Lynette
item.
Perez.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Perez.
Yeah, the question I had was will be the fiscal impact to going to the 10-hour proposed 4-day-a-week work schedule?
Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. So this is the traditional calendar that Judson ISD has had for quite some time. So there isn't a negative impact. The staff works their 10 hours Monday through Thursday. What we hope will be a positive impact in regards to closing down on Fridays, meaning that we will not have to turn on air conditioning, lighting, so we do hope that it'll be a cost savings. What I would like to stress to the board is that this is the traditional summer schedule that we have. Because of COVID-19, and depending, since COVID-19 is always changing and bringing about different changes, this schedule could also be changed. This is what we've done in the past, but because of COVID-19, we want to ensure the safety of all our employees. So there will be some additional guidelines that will be coming out as we work to make sure that we're in compliance with the social distancing, making sure that we don't have all the building occupancy occupied. So we will be using this as our traditional and also making sure that we follow COVID-19 guidelines.
Thank you, Dr. Ball.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a question.
Go right ahead, Ms.
What will they
Eaton.
be doing, since we don't have any students?
Oh, this is for this building and for the central office building.
Okay.
So it's for, let me also correct myself, it's also for anybody that's on a 226 contract. So this is for anybody that's working the additional days.
Okay, so we'll have, I believe when we spoke about this the other day, you said the PINs, am I saying it right?
PIMS? Mm-hmm.
That they'll be going in to start working on registration and all that.
Yes, ma'am. They started, we had a marvelous turnout for our registration. Our PIMS clerks did a fabulous job. So they've already started and they'll continue. And there'll be some days for them to work in the summer. They're not 226, but there'll be some days that we do need them.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions for item D? Item E. I'm sorry. All those, roll call vote. Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Perez?
Lynette Perez, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
And Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Motion passes. Item E? Excuse me? Renee Pichelle, aye. Consider and take action regarding approving service delivery agreement between the Communities in Schools and Judson Independent School District. Is there a motion?
I move we approve.
I'll second.
The motion has been made and seconded. And please, who pulled this item?
I did, Shatanya King.
Ms. King, go right ahead, please.
And so I'm so happy to see that Judson does have the communities in school. And it's needed always, especially right now, while our students need that, the campuses need that extra individual to be able to be there to talk with students. And so I show that Communities in School is available for 6 campuses for Judson. And I see that there's a case manager. How many representatives is for that?
So every campus that's listed there has a case manager, except for Wagner High School has 2. That is one of our larger campuses, so, and also a campus that has high need, so they do have 2.
Okay.
Almost at the beginning of when I got here, we were able to partner with Communities in Schools and write a grant. So this is a partnership that we have with Communities in Schools, which took the words out of my mouth. It's been a wonderful partnership. They have done a great job in helping our communities and servicing our students and families.
Great, thank you.
And now we'll take a vote. Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Ms. Perez?
Lynette Perez, aye.
And Renee Pichelle, aye. Motion passes. Item F, consider and take action regarding approving a proclamation to declare May 1st, 2020 as School Lunch Hero Day. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion is made, and I will second it. And who pulled that one? Someone pulled item F.
I think
not
Lynette
sure.
pulled that.
Pardon me?
Ms. Perez.
I'll jump in. I just wanted to acknowledge, during this time of COVID, and I apologize for background noises. My husband's driving down the interstate, and I'm participating in this meeting as we head back to San Antonio. But I just wanted to personally thank and acknowledge the entire staff in our food services department, because one of the biggest concerns that I heard in the community, and it's a concern nationwide, was that when the schools closed because of COVID, that so many children who depend on the schools for breakfast and lunch might somehow go without. And to see Judson ISD not miss a beat, to have call to action. And, oftentimes I would just be out walking in the neighborhood or riding my bike, and to see the cars lined up and to see it so, from observing from the distance, it executed so smoothly day after day after day. I just, personally wanted to give thanks and acknowledge our fine staff for all they have done and continue to do to ensure that children in our community, and not only just those who attend Judson ISD, but anyone that's 18 and under that lives within the confines of JISD is not going hungry because of their effort. And so I just personally wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you. Hear, hear. And we'll take a vote now. Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Ms. Perez?
Lynette Perez, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Renee Pichelle, aye. Motion passes. Thank you for that recognition, Ms. Perez. And
My pleasure.
item M, Consider and take action regarding approving the transfer of certain bond proceeds from Proposition 2 to Proposition 1 of the district's 2016 bond election in order to complete various items with the Olympia Elementary upgrade and Elof Elementary upgrade. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Eaton and second?
Second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Canoyer. This item was pulled by you, Ms. Perez?
No, me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Eaton, go right
I
ahead.
just wanted to check with Dr. Ball on this one because is this the bond money that we were talking about before that we were gonna move over?
I don't remember talking about it before, but what this is bond money from the Wortham Oaks project Wortham Oaks is completed. There was some money left over there. So this money would be transferred to the ELOF and to the Olympia projects because those came in over the original bid.
Do you happen to know about how much it is?
Over?
No, the amount of money that we're talking about.
Bill, please correct me, but I think it's $1.3 million.
1.6
million, actually.
Oh, excuse me, 1.6 million.
1.3 for Olympia and 300 for ELOF. ELOF, actually, we got good bids on ELOF.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you repeat that figure, please, Mr. Atkins, for Elof?
I'll repeat it so it's,
Okay, I got it.
just so it's on the record, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay. The district would like to transfer 1.6 million in excess funds from the Wortham Oaks Elementary project for Proposition 2 and increase Olympia Elementary project Proposition 1 by 1.3 million and increase Elof Elementary Proposition 1 by 300,000.
Thank you. There it is in black and white.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure everybody could hear that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I can't open up my paperwork.
We'll take a vote now. Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Perez?
Lynette Perez, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
And Renee Pichelle, aye. Motion passes. All right, let us move on to item item 5.
No, we got to go back to.
Oh, P. Item P, consider and take action regarding approving a resolution for African American Studies in the Judson ISD. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Eaton, and I'll second it.
Thank you. I asked for this to be pulled because I'm just curious. What grade level are we going to start this program at?
Yes, ma'am. So if I could also just brag a little bit about our district. The State Board of Education approved this earlier this spring.
Right.
So we certainly, because of the diversity of our district, the importance that a course like this would have, wanted to be one of the very first ones to do this. So we know for a fact that we will be offering this at our high schools, and we are possibly also looking into possibly offering it at our middle schools also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other
I had a
questions?
question. Do we have teachers lined up to do this? I'm very excited that we're going to be on the front
Are
end
there
of this.
teachers, Dr.
And yeah, do we have teachers lined up to teach the courses?
Yes, ma'am. Not only do we have teachers, but we also have support from several professors, one of them being the UTSA professor, another one Texas A&M San Antonio professor, which have already reached out to us, offered us resources. So we're very excited about this opportunity.
Great. Are there any other questions? At this time, we'll take a roll call. Ms. King?
Shatanya King, aye.
Ms. Canoyer?
Suzanne Canoyer, aye.
Ms. Eaton?
Deborah Eaton, aye.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Jennifer Rodriguez, aye.
Mr. Diaz?
Rafa Diaz, aye.
Ms. Perez?
Lynette Perez, aye.
And Renee Pichelle, aye. Motion passes. Now we will move on to item 5. Discussion, consideration of action items. Item A, consider and take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report. Will we be doing this in closed session? All right?
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
We will move on to item 6, discussion items and reports. A, superintendent report. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. In the packet, everybody has their construction report. I did not receive any questions. So with your permission, I'll answer any questions if anybody has any.
Does anyone have any questions about the construction report? We'll move on. Item B, local district update, first reading of DEA local compensation and benefits of compensation plan. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. What this is just the first reading for our board policy DEA local. Wanted just to give it to the board to have this to review, and then we could bring it for approval at the following board meeting.
And I do support the premium pay that is included now in the compensation and benefits plan. Does anybody else have any comments? Ms. Canoyer?
Yes, I wanted to agree also. I know that we're asking some of our employees to go above and beyond, and I think it's just and fair that we compensate them for taking on these risks that we're asking them to take on. So thank you for memorializing this in our local policy.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? We'll move on. Item C, the fiscal year 2021 budget preparation discussion. Dr. Ball?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Atkins to come and join me because he has been working diligently on this budget. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Atkins. I know that y'all have a copy of that, and I know that we also sent it to our staff members, to our board members that are online.
Good evening, Madam President. Dr. Ball,
Good
board
evening.
members. So tonight, okay, so, the old-fashioned one.
You need me to push the button?
I gotta hit slideshow, yeah.
We don't have a remote.
Okay, so we did get our values in, like I said, right before the last meeting, so I've kind of update those. We have our campus allotments and our department allotments and proposed allotments with some cuts. We'll review some cost savings again, and then update the budget assumptions, and then answer any questions or comments, concerns along the way. So as you can see, our values came in. Again, an increase in values. The one that we will be looking at that the state will use for determining our increase is the net taxable. And so if you look at April to April, which is 10.9 billion to 11.8, it's a 7.62% increase. It's the third line down. But July is the one that we're worried about, and so we know we're going to lose some value between now and then. And so using the historical projections that Bexar County has, I think we're going to end up around 11.4, and I think the last presentation we were at 11.08, so a little better than what we thought, about a 5.2% increase in values. Going on to our allotments, what we're proposing tonight is mainly a 3% cut for campuses and a 5% cut for departments. And then there's some little issues that I just want to explain along the way with us reorganizing the budget and moving some funds somewhere where we can provide more equity in our programs. The first one here is our high schools, and you can see the three traditional high schools are definitely taking more than a 3% cut. But what we've done is we've taken, in the past, they have paid for graduation out of their campus budget. And so to make that a little more efficient, we have pulled that out so they don't have to worry about doing the contracts, and Ms. Roberts' office is doing the contracts and taking care of that. The other thing that we been working with Ms. Robinson and Mr. Witt is our fine arts departments had been funded mainly from the campus budget, supplemented a little bit by the district budget, and what we found is, depending on which campus you are at, they weren't necessarily supported equitably at a per pupil level. And so we're going to pull those funds out, put them in Mr. Witt's budget, and his responsibility is to make sure that we're funding band equitably between veterans, Wagner, and Judson, and cheer, and those things.
And art?
And art,
music?
yes, ma'am, he's in charge of art too.
Okay.
And so then the rest of them are just 3% cuts, the other high schools. At our middle schools, and this will change a little bit from this slide just because, like I said, Mr. Witt has been out, so we're trying to work with him. But we're going to do the same thing at our middle schools and pull the fine arts out again, so it's equitably done across the board. And I haven't done that yet, but it'll just be moving money from here into, you'll see later we have, Mr. Witt has budgets broken out underneath him. But other than that, it's just a 3% cut. Same at the elementary, just a 3% cut. So when we get to the department allotments, again, we're trying to do a 5% cut, but there are some anomalies, and we start right off with the school board. And so if you read across, last year in the budget we had 164, and this year we're expecting to put 231. One of the things we did was we removed the audit from the budget, in the board budget. It hadn't been used in the last 2 years, and so we just actually took that as a cost savings. The other thing we did is we didn't have an election last year, so the increase is for the election that we would have in May of 2021. And so it's over $100,000, so that's how that comes out. The superintendent's budget, again, it's going up a little bit, but we added $10,000 there for the survey that we survey all of our employees and from TASB. And last year we paid for it out of the board budget. It really shouldn't have been paid for there. So we're going to move it back where it needs to go. And then the effective schools is, all the rest are 3% cuts. 5% cuts, excuse me. The tax office, this is where we pay for Bexar County Appraisal District and Bexar County to collect our taxes. And since we had an increase, and that's how we get charged on the value, there will be an increase to those costs. If there's nothing in the notes section, it's just a 5% decrease. Postage, we, as you can see, exceeded our postage this year. We have been mailing a lot with the packets and everything. Probably going to have to do some of that next year maybe, so we increased it a little bit, and we also know that postage went up, so we increased it a little bit. In accounting and payroll, we're still taking the 3% cut, but we did move the legal fees from the superintendent's office into this budget just because it really shouldn't have been in the superintendent's budget. Employee services, 5%. Maintenance insurance, unfortunately, insurance is going to increase commercially between 25 and 30% this year. And so we're increasing this because we know that that insurance is going to go up. And then the maintenance tax note, that increased because we added a payment for the 2019 maintenance tax note that we approved last year. Network services, again, we're doing some moving here. What we found when we try and do a percentage cut is a lot of our district-wide software licenses were in individual departments' budgets. And so when you want to do a 5% cut, they can't do it because, and so then there was a bunch of adding and subtracting, and So we said, we're going to create this district-wide technology budget down there at the bottom. And we'll put them all in there, and that way, when we do the percentage cut, we won't mess with that one because we actually have to find out what the renewal is and budget there. And so that's what we've done, and that's why the cuts here are bigger, is because we moved a lot of those license costs down into the district-wide technology. Looking at Ms. Robinson's area, you can see this is where, in teaching and learning, that second line, this is where we added the graduation funds in. And this one's inflated because this is where I put the high school fine arts money until I have a chance to meet with Mr. Witt and make sure we get it into the ones that go under there, the band, orchestra, mariachi. So her budget will go down the next time you see this, and those budgets will go up. The uniforms, we did buy band uniforms for Wagner last year. There's nobody that's supposed to get band uniforms this year, so we will take that as a savings. And again, the color guard is, we're leaving it the same just because they were doing a lot of their uniforms through fees, and we're trying to cut back on the student fees. The art equipment, we left the same, and everything else, I think, is a regular cut.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When they go out in the community and provide a service, do they get paid any funds? Do people make like a monetary donation to them?
I don't know the answer for here. I know in other districts, we have had people that donate to the program, and it usually goes into their activity fund for them to use. And I don't know any actual individuals, but I can check and see.
So it would be then at the individual school?
Right. A lot of times when our band performs, they.
Not the band, the ROTC,
Oh.
the
oh,
color
okay.
guard.
Right. They do have an activity account, and it would go in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But I can check and see if,
No,
Okay.
something specific is on my mind.
Okay.
And yes,
okay.
okay.
Again, here in these budgets, there was really no notes. These are just across-the-board cuts. Here, the one that we had was special education, and we'll have to work with Dr. Gill on that. Depends on their allotment in the foundation school, and we have a maintenance of effort that they have to meet, and so we'll have to make sure that that's budgeted correctly. Career and tech is the same way.
Is that variance positive or negative? That, it's in parentheses.
Right now, I have them at a 5% cut, but that may change depending on the allotments came out today, and so we have to work on those. The same with career and tech. And then as we get into Ms. Davis's curriculum instruction, again, these are just mainly cuts across the board. Some of them did not, like instructional technology, because we have a new department starting there, so we left that the same. And RTI was kind of so small, I don't think they could have taken it. As we go to second page of hers, here the big things is we combined, we had 3 different bilingual budgets last year, and working with Ms. Robinson and the bilingual program, we've combined all those together so they can maximize the use of those. And in Dr. Fields, the one area is athletics. Didn't do a change here. Number one, we don't know what's going to have with athletics, but the concern is if we do have athletics, there's probably going to be a lot of cost to make things work the way they need to safely. So right now, we're just saying we're going to leave it as is. Child nutrition and central kitchen, I'm working with Ms. Daniels and Mr. Gibbs on getting those budgets. Again, we're looking at The potential cost if the recommendation is we feed all kids in the classroom, there would be some additional cost up front to buy equipment to do that and all those things. And so I know that's being talked about. So. And then energy management, it went up a little bit, and that's just because I wanted to have an even number. But we know that there's a rate increase, and the SAWS is increasing rates every year for it seems like the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know if CPS is having a rate increase, but we're bringing on a large building at Veterans. We're bringing on a large building at Kitty Hawk, and we're going to be bringing on a building down here on Pat Booker Road. And so it didn't go up much. So what this department has been really good at over the last few years is as we've added campuses, they've kept the budget about the same. It may have gone up a little bit, but it didn't go up much. So I'm hoping they can do it again, that through conservation that we can keep that budget about the same. Custodial services, again, I did no change. In fact, that might have to increase just because of the amount of work we're going to have to do to make it safe.
Because we're going to have new requirements, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sanitation. Are we going to hire any additional custodial personnel to kind of help with that?
So our task force has its first meeting on Monday, and then we'll be bringing some recommendations back to the board.
Okay. I got some disinfectant wipes at home.
Human resources, just regular cut. Communications, we actually increased because we know we're going to have to market our district to keep our kids. And so I know Dr. Ball's been working with the communications department, and so we think that we should put some money into that, that's going to help keep our enrollment up. And then the business partnership, we just left the same just because we canceled most of the spring events. Hopefully next year we'll get to have them, and so we'll want to make sure that they get supported. So here's some of the savings that we found when we went through the budget line by line. Last year, in Dr. Cantu's budget, she had some summer school payroll budgeted, but we budget summer school payroll over in state comp and title, and this was local, and so it wasn't needed, it wasn't used. You can see there was nothing that came out of it, so we're taking that as a cost savings. The library processing center we closed this year. The only cost to come out of it is the rental for the copier that's there, and so we're going to zero that budget out. Special programs was another department that closed this year, and so we're going to zero that budget out. Again, that cost is only the copier. We had last year, when we started the year, we had a title budget and a special programs budget. We had two different people, and when who was the title? Who? No. Ms. Roddy. When Ms. Roddy retired, we combined that, and Ms. Burton's running that, and so there was no need for two budgets.
Thank
you. The other one is Dr. Cantu's budget. She was here part of the year. You saw that they used a little bit, but again, there's no need to budget there. The next one is Mr. Cortinez's budget. Again, that's been absorbed. The intensified algebra is a program that we tried this year. Ms. Davis said it just didn't work out and it wasn't worth investing in. So we're not going to move forward with that. And then this is the audit program that we took out of the board area. So we end up with, on the department level, about $1.9 million in savings. So when we kind of look at our savings, we think that the campus attrition positions is actually going to go up to about 450,000. We have eliminated the master stipend going forward, but I want to make sure that it's understood. We're only proposing to eliminate it for those teachers that are not teaching in their field. So they don't have a master's in the field they're teaching in. So if I have a master's of psychology and I'm teaching science or something, you would not get the master's stipend. But if I had a master's in math, we would pay you the master's stipend. And we're not going to take any away. Everybody's grandfathered. It would just be new hires going forward.
So
ma'am.
at elementary, I think we need to be a little generous when we look at what some of those masters are in, because some of those teachers teach everything. For example, my master's was in curriculum and instruction, and I think that would be a master's that would qualify for a teacher, a teaching position, because it's about learning about curriculum and how to instruct. So I think we want to be really careful when we evaluate those, and that's something that HR can kind of make a guideline for.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Agreed. The next one we're talking about, again, we're not taking anything away from anybody has, but HR said historically we do not have a problem finding science teachers in this district. And this was put in back when there was a shortage. And so what we would like to do is eliminate the science stipend for anybody that's hired going forward. And then we have the 3% campus reduction and the 5%. And so right now we have identified $2.5 million in cost savings. We took some things off the board from the last time. We heard the concern about the Wagner, so we have taken that off for consideration. We tried to take off things that actually directly impacted people here now. So the incentive for retirement, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of retirees anyway. I think people are going to wait and see. I mean, we can always add it back in, but we took it off for right now.
Is that the feeder school issue that we discussed last time?
No, ma'am, that's the one above it, and we're going to leave that in. We're proposing that we go ahead and give the Wagner feeder school retention stipend this
Right.
year. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay.
Then providing the language other than English through Edgenuity, again, it impacts students, so we kind of took that out. Same with the non-instructional stipends at this point in time, and the board travel and senior staff travel. So there's 1.4 million that we haven't really taken, and a lot of those were identified last year, and we just kind of brought them forward. So when we look at our assumptions, the average daily attendance assumption hasn't changed. Our taxable value went up a little bit, almost 400 million. Tax collection is the same. The fifth tier penny is the same. The tax rate changed a little bit because now I'm using actual growth, and it's a calculation. So that M&O tax rate will just vary a little bit as we get closer and closer to certified values. INS stayed the same. So we have about right now we're looking at about over a 5-cent rate cut on our tax rate. Again, hoping that the state can make it through the rest of the biennium without prorating anybody, no salary increase, and taking the 2.5 million in savings costs that we've identified, and we'll hopefully find some more as we go along. So we've updated this.
I had a quick question, Mr. Atkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So on the enrollment assumption of a 3% drop, I remember discussing that last time. But then when we were looking at the campus by campus enrollment projections, is that based on how we're currently tracking with enrollment, or is that based on, like, did that assumption translate into how those numbers were generated?
Are you talking about the per pupil
On the
amount?
early slides where you had the high school, you had the
Right.
campus allotments,
No,
and there
ma'am.
were like enrollment numbers on that chart.
No, ma'am. Those are our snapshot numbers.
Okay, so that was from this past school year.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. Thank
We
you.
did not take the 3% into consideration for the campus allotments.
Got it. So that assumption is only applying to our revenue that's coming in. We're not making it impact like the level of budget cuts they might need to make at the campus.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So the 2019-20 estimate really hasn't changed. I still think we're going to put almost $4.7 million into the fund balance. The 2021 has gotten a little better. It was a little over 3 million last time. We've got it down to about 2.2 million. So if we put the 4.6 in at the end of the year, we'll start a fund balance of about 67 million. And at the end of 2021, if the 2 million deficit comes to be, then we'll be at about almost $65 million in fund balance, which is a healthy fund balance. But we know the next biennium will be a much tougher budget situation as the state has to deal with their budgets and their loss of revenue. Any questions, comments?
I just want to say thank you for your hard work. I know it's been a crazy time to try to meet with people and try to put all these projections and everything together, and I do appreciate your due diligence to making sure that we budget as carefully as we can without impacting and harming our students any more than we have to.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I just want to concur. We're in a much better place than we were and that we
Yes.
thought we were going to be in when we started off last year. And so going into the next school year and 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
So again, as I'm piggybacking off Ms. Kenoy, thank you very much, Mr. Atkins.
You're welcome.
Sir,
Thank you.
Madam President, may I say
I
something?
thought I was going to get
Absolutely.
a job.
I would like to commend the board because at this time, there's so many individuals that are worried about their next paycheck, that are struggling because they don't have a job. They're worried about feeding their families, and it's a very real and serious issue. And I want to commend the board because you've allowed us to continue to pay our employees. You continue to keep them employed. Our bus drivers, our cafeteria staff, our custodians, all the time, all the while not working, they have been able to have a paycheck. And though we always wish that we could do more for our staff, I think that this is the time where they're so thankful that they know that they have a next paycheck coming. And I think that that's what's important. We always want to continue to do more, but right now what we can give them is the reassurance that they have a job. And I think that gives a lot of people peace of mind. So thank you, board.
I'll say one more thing. When we talk about, and one of the most difficult things for me is to consider not giving a salary increase. Because I know how hard our staff works, how hard our teachers work, how hard everybody works. And I hope that our staff understands that we can't predict what our increased costs are going to be. We are in uncharted waters, and moving forward, we have to budget as tightly as we can so that we can continue to employ and pay all those people. And maybe we can do something like we did this last year. If things look better in December, we could do something mid-year. So I don't want to completely say there will not be a salary increase, but I do want to assure our employees that we have that in mind, that we do understand that it's difficult when we don't give a salary increase. And we thank them for their understanding.
I have a question. Do we have any idea, Mr. Bill, I know the state is talking about, they're going to cut back on funds, some of the funds for school. Are they giving any indication about where they're headed?
They have given no indication. I know the comptroller is scheduled to revise his revenue estimate for this biennium in July, and then he'll start working immediately on the one for the next biennium, which the legislature will use to set the budget. And so probably around October, we'll kind of know what that's going to
And
look
that'll
like.
be for that January payment that we would be looking?
No, it would be for next budget year. It would be
Oh,
for
okay,
21,
22
22 is where we're really worried about. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ooh.
I had one more question. So I know that something that we had set at one point as a long-term goal was moving towards a one-to-one sort of situation with technology for students. and devices. I know that this has made that all the more clear that that is an important direction to go. I know this is maybe getting into the details of one of those line items, but is that something that's accounted for in the technology budget? Ramping up to that, I'm not saying go one-to-one right away, because I know that's a huge expenditure, but.
We don't really have, I mean, we have a little bit of money in there to replace and update devices. We have money to buy devices for JECA, JSTEM, and TSTEM, because I think they're already one-to-one. The hopes is, and what we did at another district to get to one-to-one was when we got stimulus funds back in 2011, there was so many restrictions on them that we poured it into technology and got us to one-to-one. And so the hopes is that we might be able to do some of that with the funds that we get.
Thank you.
That's a question I've had for several years. When can we do that? So you've answered the question. Thank you. We're moving on to item D, update on board advisory committees. And I don't think that there will be any updates because nobody has met.
No, ma'am, we haven't had any meetings.
No.
Madam President, can I update on Jeff, the foundation?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
Thank
please.
you. In these uncharted times, we didn't get to have our scholarship squad as we normally do, where we go and present scholarships to the students who received scholarships from the Judson Education Foundation. But we did do a traveling parade to students' homes where we gave them a nice little sign for display and a yard sign saying that they were winners of the scholarship. And you can see photos of that on our Facebook page. We weren't able to have our senior citizens prom. We weren't able to hold our youth football camp. We've had to postpone the golf tournament, which is a huge fundraiser for us. So you might want to pencil in September 18th is our rescheduled date. Anybody out there listening that wants to, field a team for that event. And more information I know will be coming once Lexi's back here and we're all back on track. And we've got something special coming for the teacher grants. So y'all hang on and wait for that.
You're teasing us.
I'm not allowed to say.
Okay, item E, update on board training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items, requests by board members. I'll start with our video conferencing board. Ms. Rodriguez, do you have anything that you would like to?
No, nothing to share right now.
Okay. Mr. Diaz?
Nothing to share.
Ms. Perez?
Nothing to share. I am scheduled tentatively for the SLI that is to be held this summer in San Antonio. We'll see if it really does, in fact, take place, but I at least have signed up to attend that. And the only other thing that I just wanted to, again, ask the superintendent, and maybe Betty can disseminate it, if there's a way to just create either a one-pager or a short document that, especially as we're getting into this budget season, that, again, summarizes the strategic goals of the district so that we stay on course as it relates to, and very similar to what Ms. Rodriguez just touched upon, the goals that have been spoken about, and, to ensure that we're, again, staying on course as to what we are trying to aim for, both in the near term and in the long term.
Ms. Perez, thank you for allowing me to have more time. We actually have worked on it. Holdsworth is actually helping us with that, so it is almost ready. So for the next meeting, I'm going to hold myself accountable to get that here for the next meeting.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. King?
Sorry, speaking of the
Oh.
next meeting, was, pardon my ignorance, but was were the next year's board meetings, which would start next year starting in June, Were those posted on the new academic calendar, or have we set the dates for those meetings?
We just talked about that, and we're going back to our traditional third Thursday of the month.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
We had changed them just as a reminder because of the travel we had to do with Holsworth, but now we're going back to our traditional calendar. Betty and I just spoke about that today, so just give her a few days and they'll probably be up.
Thank you.
okay, Ms. King,
No, I have nothing to share at this time regarding trainings.
okay, and Ms. Eaton?
I'm going to be going to, hopefully, as with Ms. Perez going to SLI, since it's here in San Antonio, trying to save a little money and get to sleep in my own bed, so I don't want to take as many wipes with me when I go downtown. So I'm gonna hope that a lot of people don't come. So I'm going to training downtown.
All righty. The only other thing that I have is I did attend a Zoom meeting, a WebEx meeting with Bexar County School Board Coalition. And what I have done is ask for Mrs. Holmes to send out the document that we received so that you will all get it and see what it was that was discussed. Item 7, closed session. Excuse me.
Are you gonna?
Oh, I don't have anything. I don't plan to attend SLI,
I'm
so.
sorry, did I skip you, Ms.
Yeah,
Nguyen?
but because I spoke about the foundation before, I think it just kind of bled over. So, but I have nothing else to add.
I will not be attending SLI either. All right, so we'll now go into closed session, item 7. A, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, discussing personnel and the personnel report, and updates including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments. Item B, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, the board will consult with its legal counsel regarding pending litigation and possible settlement offer in the matter styled Mercedes Fuller versus Judson ISD, cause number 2018C1185075 in the District Court, 285th Judicial District, Bexar County, Texas. C, pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with the district's attorney regarding cause number 518CV00269, HJB, Carolyn Ross versus Judson Independent School District in the United States District Court for the Western District of Texas, San Antonio Division. D, pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, deliberation regarding the lawsuit of former employee regarding cause number 518CV0269 HJB, Carolyn Ross versus Judson Independent School District in the United States District Court for the Western District of Texas, San Antonio Division. Item E, pursuant to 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with the district's attorney regarding legal issues related to the implementation of Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And item F, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, attorney consultation regarding legal issues related to potential, anticipated, or pending construction litigation and construction issues. The time is now 7:09. We will go into closed session.